Broadcasting live from the True Crime Today studios to the world. This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Bruschi and Stacey Cole.
From the Hit Killers Podcast, Murder in the Morning.
Let's talk about good old Rex Heuermann, the suspected Long Island serial killer. Investigators making a significant connection now in the Gilgo Beach murder case, linking one of the phone numbers listed in an alleged planning document belonging to Rex Heuermann, the prime suspect, to a former Bronx sex worker. The discovery sheds a new light on the case, which has captivated a lot of us for quite some time now. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney made the phone number public in June of 2023, seeking help from the public in identifying a woman who may have been targeted by Heuermann around 2002. The number has now been traced to Danielle Goodling, a former Bronx sex worker who died in 2021 from an apparent drug overdose. According to her family, Gooding's involvement in the case highlights the brutal reality of the crimes Heuermann is accused of committing. Goodling worked as a sex worker in New York during the late 90s and early 2000s, a period when Heuermann is alleged to have been planning his heinous acts. She had multiple arrests, two of which occurred in 2002 near Heuermann's former office, raising questions about whether their paths might have crossed back then. The second phone number found in the document, a pager number, remember those, remains unverified. Investigators are continuing their efforts to determine its relevance to the case. According to authorities, Heuermann used the planning document between 2000 and 2002, outlining his methods for carrying out his crimes and evading law enforcement. The document included phone numbers associated with individuals identified as Megan, and Target 1, which may refer to Gooding. Though her mother, Cindy Fittis, stated she does not recall her daughter using the name Megan. The connection between Gooding and Heuermann adds another layer to the complex and disturbing investigation. On July 13th of 23, Heuermann, who's now 60, was arrested outside his Manhattan office in connection with the 2010 murders of Melissa Barthelemy, who's 24, Megan Waterman, 22, Amber Costello, 27. According to reports from the front page detectives, these women, along with Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 25, whose remains were found near the others, became known as the Gilgo 4. The scope of the case widened as authorities continue their investigation. In June of 24, just this last June, Heuermann was charged with the alleged murders of Jessica Taylor in 2003 and Sandra Costello in 1993. These charges brought the total number of alleged victims to 6, all of whom were involved in sex work. According to prosecutors, the timeline of the crime spanned 3 decades, from Costello's 1993 death to Heuermann's arrest in 23. Despite the mounting evidence and the gravity of the charges against him, Heuermann has maintained his innocence, pleading not guilty to all charges. The ongoing investigation continues to uncover more details about Heuermann's activities and potential victims as law enforcement works to bring justice to these families and these victims. It's crazy what just continues to be brought up here and what they can use to find and connect him to all these different people that we're to 6 right now. And you have 3 decades. I don't even want to know what the final count's going to be.
Oh, we may never know that final count because isn't there a Las Vegas connection as well?
Well, he has property out there. We don't have any murders out there, at least as of now, that have been connected to him. But I mean, if one's going to assume that the man who frequents sex workers didn't kill sex workers in Las Vegas, I think we'd be a little bit naive.
Oh, I imagine. I mean, when you go on vacation, some of your vices really come to fruition, when you're not at work. And if Vegas was a vacation home for them, and that's kind of the epicenter of sex workers, holy cats, there's probably bodies buried in the desert all over the place.
It's God. Yeah, who knows? But I think there's just going to be a lot that's going to continue to come out of this. Like I said, I've been very interested in the documentary that's being put together by 50 Cent and G Unit Productions. where they're following Asa around. Very curious to see what that all looks like when it finally comes out. And I wonder how long that's going to be. If it's going to be, maybe make it a multi-part thing, because we want to see what you got so far. Rather than waiting till this thing gets to trial, because I don't know when this thing will get to trial, because they keep finding more bodies. So this could linger on a long time before this thing ever actually goes to trial.
I have a feeling we're talking years and years and years, because now that they have a suspect in custody, I bet there are so many tips and leads that they need to look into that they can't start this process just yet. Yeah.
I mean, you get up with multiple trials at some point if they keep finding, but I think they're going to, for the interest in this, is try and close up any of these cold cases that they possibly can. And if there's a connection can be made, then make it. But if not, then we got to move on so we can get this thing to trial. But there's just so much, and so much new technology that didn't exist in all these. So you got to retest things, if there's even things to retest. And that's how you're getting so many of these connections to them.
It makes me wonder, have the killings stopped? That's the interesting thing I want to know. In 2023, did these killings just stop? Are sex workers still missing? That kind of thing?
I mean, you're always going to have that in that profession to a certain extent. But the way of which they were finding all those bodies on the beaches together all those years ago, that seemed to stop. But that doesn't mean that, they're not buried somewhere else. I think the only thing that connects it is, somebody got lazy one day and decided to put the bodies on the beach rather than digging the hole. So my question is, how many other holes are out there with bodies in?
It's probably more than we ever want to imagine.
Yeah. Something I doubt Rex. I don't know. I wonder if he'll take the BTK route at the end of the day and really tell his story, or if he'll just kind of go down the ogre that he is and just not saying a word and just denying it till death.
I wish he'd just fess up. You're going to spend the rest of your life in jail one way or the other, in prison. How about if we give you an extra cookie at dinner? Just tell us what happened.
That'd be a great thing. Every day you get an extra cookie if you tell us where a body is.
Yeah.
And if
body
not,
for a cookie.
Body for a cookie. He looks like a man who would probably take you up on that, quite honestly.
You're neck deep in a dark, twisted tale. And just as the tension peaks, bam, a commercial about some miracle diet pill breaks the spell. It's like finding a fly in your soup after the first bite. But here's the fix. True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. You get to enjoy your crime stories without the junk. Ad-free episodes, extended interviews that go beyond the surface, and early access to all the gruesome details. It's like swapping out a can of cheap beer for a glass of fine whiskey. So search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe and keep the darkness flowing uninterrupted.